be using the deliverable screen on this side of it. So just to bring it up, you should be familiar with the access. Quick access is here, menu in through it on that. And specifically, we're going to kind of come in through the search button right through there. So we're going to do bring up the deliverable. We're going to do a search on deliverables. The parameter kind of go through it. So we're going to look at what deliverables out there. Deliverables are just scripts, meeting minutes, etc. Kind of general kind of tracking registers on it. And we're going to look for our navigating the screens. And again, this is a search. A lot of times if you see the button raised, and it means you can double click on it. And we will be talking a little bit about the standard headers here when we bring up the screen. If you see the little database symbol, when you click on that one, and we'll show you that one just after we bring up the deliverable, that brings up the associated related components, entities, action items, if there's other things related to that. So we're going to bring up our navigating the screens. We'll double click on it, and it brings up our deliverables profile. Within the screens, we'll see a couple of items here. Most of them we try to keep somewhat consistent within it. The header has an exit button that'll pop us right out of the application. A home will bring up our home screen, and that is in a subsequent video. It just allows us to traverse through the various components. A close, if we want to email the form, collect data via email, if we wanted to send this out to individuals, and then have them fill it in and automatically populate that component is working for several profiles. Obviously, if we want to print it, if it's a screen print, it prints in PDF. If we want to do some additional searches, or in fact, we got a new, if we want to do a search across it, and that's fairly familiar. If we want to do a new action item, actors, a new deliverable, we can click right onto that. If we happen to know the deliverable that we're going to, we have the number, then we can just key in a number there, click on the go to button, and from there we can go directly to, let's say, a project. We can enter that in. There's usually standard header on the bottoms, a little bit about on the header here on what we're actually looking at. This is deliverable. They usually try to make every screen report should have a number, so we can always reference it. When you do searches or go against the knowledge base, then you can find out a little bit about that. The topic, when you start going into some of the tabbed sections, then this just ensures that we're on the right area. Then our standard windows, shrink, expand, close. In some cases, we'll try to have a like button on it. If you like this particular aspect, there are going to be ways to click into what you like and then send it off to either ourselves that you want to do something a little different, or in fact through your own particular organization. And there's ways to put that parameter within it. And then system date and time on through that. We go through the tabs. Usually the first tab here is the general profile. It has a number of items in here. If we happen to, again, back to our database symbol, if we click on that one, it'll bring up a little mini menu, and I'll show you that. And then the ID, if it's needed. We're trying to drive most of the off of the names, but in some cases, if the names are similar, then the way to differentiate is through the number. For this particular entity called profile, we tried to put in the help where we could. If we click on, to give you an example, on the OPI, which is Office of Primary Interest, you'll see the ownership. It really ties into the ownership. It'll say here, resource owner of deliverable on that side of it. So we've tried to incorporate that. This particular is a video, obviously. We can show it's a script type. and we'll bring up a sample of a report that kind of outlines what you need to do from a script. And then there's no mandatory fields within this particular entity. We'd leave it up to your discretion. Usually the next tab is linkages. Excuse me. In linkages, so in this one we have a portfolio for each eCIO management, and in most cases, if you just double click on it, and we'll show you this, if you click on it, it'll bring up that particular entity, and this is in fact the demographics for portfolios, what we track, etc., on it, who the owners are, like within it. And a lot of times what we can do is you can just key in a name and pull down lists on a number of these items, etc., on that side of it. If we close it, if you see the little symbol here, a lot of times it'll bring up a brand new one. So if we're missing one, when you try to do a pull down on it, then it allows you to kind of key in a brand new entity if you see it recorded here, or if there's other portfolios, as in our case, you can pick and choose what you need to do for that. Usually the third button is narrative. If there's any comments, descriptions, etc., you can capture those. And then from there, could be a series of tabs depending upon what you want to do. Notably, we'll have financials. In this case, FTE hours. What we're going to do, calculate a field to say what would cost this particular entity is going to cost, etc., and track some of the costs. And then also give you an option for including attachments, etc., that might be tied to this. So for deliverables, as we mentioned, there's different ways you can try it. Some cases there are, and we'll talk a little bit about risks and issues. There are separate entities to track those, but sometimes you can use the deliverable. If you're just tracking them at a very cursory level, you can kind of go off of that within it. Now we'll go into the related entities, and that usually brings up a mini screen that allows you to kind of, for deliverables, and you can have a series of these, pick out the related entities for video navigating the screen. So we can add in action items, approvals, if there was other artifacts that are related, instruments, and we'll talk a little bit about the difference between those. If there's issues, also tying the knowledge base. If there's KPIs, goals, objectives, we can go into that. Related metrics, risks associated with this, and who the principal stakeholders are. If you wanted to use this one to navigate, this is stakeholders. I'll bring up action items. So this will bring up the action items regarding video, navigating the screens. So in this one, these action items, we're going to, in fact, do introductions, overview, what we're trying to do, etc. on it. So it allows us to track that. If we wanted to do a new deliverable, we can do that, another search. Some of these are you familiar with. If there is a particular report associated with this one, these are lists of the reports available with a deliverable. So if we go into the scripting register, and I'll show you a little bit, it'll bring up the reporting, and this is standard. The reporting dialog here. So we're going to bring up the video, navigating the screens, click on that. If we want to do searches, there's a separate video that's going to go into this, a little bit more detail on that one. So we'll just click on that. Okay, because that's the one we want. And it brings up our screen, our report. From there we can email it, and we can talk a little bit about this in a further video. The websites, what we need to do, and if there's a general distribution. And these are the comments for this particular type of reporting. which is if we want to include the audio narration, comments, if there are statuses, and as we update this, we make it a little better that we can track that, etc. This shows you the progress, if we're doing well or not, level of effort, status, was it new, etc. on that side of it. So, and most of the look and feel should be the same for each of our various types of reports. So we'll close this. If we wanted to go and using this little mini menu, if we wanted to go specifically into let's say general navigation in eCIO, click on that and just click on go to, and that would bring up that particular deliverable on that. Now the only thing you have to remember is that this is still mini menu, still tied to navigation screens, and when we click on the action items or approvals associated with this, and it'll go against that one until we change it with the database symbol on that. And that concludes the general navigation on our screens within it. Hope this was beneficial. Please feel free, at the end of this video will be a web address and an email address that you can send information to, inquiries, and we will be more than happy to help you out any way we can. Thank you very much.